Owen Shroyer here for Infowars.com. I'm just arriving at the scene of the March for Our Lives in Austin, Texas. Got my NRA hat on, got my Infowars shirt on, got my Infowars mic flag. So I'm sure they're going to be very loving and peaceful to me and just really appreciate me being here and probably want to speak to me and tell me all their views and why they think gun control is the answer. This is in response to the Florida shooting. Well, if you're going to blame guns for the Florida shooting, let's at least get our priorities right here, and let's look at the FBI that failed dozens of times to do anything about Cruz with multiple warnings, local law enforcement that knew he was violent, knew he'd made threats in the past, even with weapons, and had multiple calls to his home. Even the school knew he was a problem. And yet somehow he slips through the cracks, beats the FBI's background check system, and buys a weapon to go shoot up the school. So if you're going to blame guns, again, you should at least blame the FBI, local law enforcement that didn't even go in to the school in Coward County. But no, they just want to come after the guns because it's all about a political agenda. It's not about protecting children. It's not about doing the common sense thing. No, there is no common sense involved here. There's a left-wing, radical, left-wing extremist political agenda. Do you like Infowars, ma'am? Huh? No? Fake news? Well, what have we reported that's fake?
I don't know.
Seriously, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out. Help me out here.
No, I've heard there's a lot of inaccuracies in Infowars, and I'm not a liberal. I'm conservative, so I don't know.
But can you cite some, though? Don't you think it would be helpful to know?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Okay, so maybe I'm...
All right, well, that's fair. I would double check. We're not fake news. We're groundbreaking. That's why they lie about us. For real. Thank you. Yeah. See, folks, you can't believe in hearsay like that. Some of the commenters are making an interesting point about this being a bunch of propaganda. Now, remember what happened in Nazi Germany, how they told people to turn their guns in, and then they went around collecting guns? And it was common sense measures, right? Common sense gun measures. That's what Hitler told them in Nazi Germany, and then they went and confiscated the guns. Mao Zedong also did this in the Chinese Communist government, the biggest mass murdering regime in the history of the world. They all were for gun control. So they walk around and claim that we're Nazis falling for propaganda when they're literally falling for Nazi propaganda. I mean, the exact same playbook that the Nazis used to confiscate weapons from the Jews before they rounded them up. The same propaganda that the communists in China used to take the guns from those citizens, the biggest mass murdering regime in history. So all of the most brutal dictatorships in world history were anti-Second Amendment. But yet, I come out here and I'm told I'm falling for propaganda, even though it was America that changed the world and gave every person the right to be armed. That means every person can be free.
How's it going?
Hey, how are you today?
How's it been fucking over democracy? Go fuck yourself.
Wow, very classy. Just an exemplary...
You're killing children. Killing children is a lot possible.
Yeah, well, why don't we protect the children with firearms then? Wow, just exemplifying class out here. All right, I'm going in. All right, we're right in the middle of the March for Our Lives now. Let me tell you, when the founders of this country knew that the British soldiers were threatening their lives and killing them and their families, they didn't march and they didn't turn their guns in. They picked them up and they created the greatest country in the history of the world. Still is to this day. But if these people have their way, we'll be turned into a third world hellhole like Mexico, where you're not allowed to have a gun, and violent gun crimes are one of the biggest problems in Mexico, where you're not even allowed to have a gun. Riddle me that. But we're marching. We're going to control an inanimate object. We're going to figure it out. I swear that gun that can't do anything without a human, we'll get it under control. Yep, cheer them on. What brings you guys out here today?
Gun control.
So that actually seems like a pro-gun sign, though. Get some!
No.
Oh, you're like saying, yes, take my gun.
Take my gun.
Oh, okay, so yes, be a slave.
Yes, what?
Yes, be a slave.
No.
Do you think the slaves that created this country had guns? Do you think they were allowed to have guns?
I think that you're here for your own agenda, and I'm here for my agenda.
No, I'm just asking a question. Do you think the African-American slaves that helped build this country had the rights to guns?
Go talk to somebody else. You're at the wrong rally.
Gotta go.
The NRA, what's the NRA done?
Yeah, you got the hat on, buddy.
The NRA instructor stopped a mass shooting in Sutherland.
180. You did it 180. You betrayed the people.
What do you mean? How do we betray the people? You guys are marching against the firearms.
We're against them.
That's you betraying the country.
Firearms. That's where you're wrong.
No one's marching against firearms. Okay. Your sign says literally come and take it, but somehow you're not marching against firearms. Semi-automatics, like AR-15s, you don't like those?
Exactly. We don't like.
What percentage of gun deaths in this country are committed by...
They're used by the military. That's
Military
who
has
needs
full
the
automatic.
military.
No, the military needs bigger weapons than that, like fully automatic and tanks and stuff.
That's when they need them.
What percentage of violent crime in the United States has an AR involved?
Military.
All right, you can't answer the question. Very small amount is the answer, folks. An AR is actually a very small amount of gun crime. Very small.
You're not from Texas. You're an imp to disrupt.
I'm actually from Missouri, where we have constitutional carry, so we have better gun control laws than Texas now.
I don't think the issue with AR-15s is the amount of gun crime, is how effective it is. The issue.
Have you ever shot one?
I have shot guns. I've never shot an AR-15, but I've seen the effects on animals and people from.
So let's say a guy is coming at you and he's got an AR-15. I mean, a law's not going to stop him. A march isn't going to stop him. An AR-15 is going to stop him. So what do you want in that situation?
The whole idea is to prevent super deadly guns from getting.
Right, and that's what cops are here for, and that's why they have firearms. So wouldn't we all want to have that ability as independent sovereign citizens?
Cops react after the event.
Bingo, that's why we need to be proactive and have a gun on us.
We're gonna have a conversation. I'm not going to either.
Thank you for proving my point. No, see, that's the exact conversation that happens every time, and then they run away because logically they realize their argument doesn't have any founding. Yes, AR-15s are the problem. Well, are illegal people that have them or criminals that have them and want to commit crime, are they going to turn them in? Of course they're not going to turn them in. You're going to turn yours in, and then you're going to be a sitting duck. That's why people shoot up school zones. It's a gun-free zone. Enough is enough. Look at the city of Kennesaw, Georgia, where they enacted a law that every house has to have a firearm. It has the least crime in the country. The least crime in the country, folks.
That's just not true.
Look it up, bud. Enough is enough. I agree. We should all have firearms in our homes. We should have more guns in the school. Wow, why do you guys put your butt up against me? You're just a strange fellow. You know that? You should grow up. You seem like an old man. Arrested Development out here live on the streets of Austin, Texas. Yeah, keep the guns out of school. They already were out of schools, ma'am. It's a gun-free zone. Schools are gun-free zones. That's why mass shooters go there. That's called common sense. That's common sense, ma'am. You're brainwashing your children. Look at what Eric Holder said about brainwashing children. This is all a government plan to brainwash you. This is what the Nazis did. This is what the Nazis did to the Jewish people. Do you think the Jews were allowed to have guns during the Nazi regime?
You are so wrong.
The Nazis let the Jews have guns. Yeah. Oh yeah. And Mao Zedong let the people have guns too. That's why it was the most murderous regime in the history of the world. I'm all right, thank you though. Oh my gosh. You guys are Nazis. Turn in the guns. Literally, that's what the Nazis did. And if you think Trump is Hitler, why would you want to turn the guns into a Nazi president? Oops. Oops. Did your logic just fall through? Yep, sure did. Yeah, these people hate me. They all stare at me because I have an NRA hat on. How dare I? The NRA has literally not been involved in any mass shootings except for stopping the shooter. We are the silent majority. They are the loud minority. And here's the youth leading the march. The Hitler Nazi Brigade, the brown shirts out here. Look at this. This is awful. Brainwashing children like Hitler did. This is literally what Hitler did. You are witnessing a brown shirt Nazi propaganda march in 2018, right here, right now. And then in their next march, they'll say Trump is Hitler, while they are literally replacing the Nazi brown shirts in history right now. Just screaming. Look at these people. Hey, why are you anti-free speech?
I'm not anti-free speech. In fact, I'm very much for free speech.
So why are you blocking my camera?
Because
You're anti-free speech?
No, I'm not anti-free speech. What I'm against is you all and your spreading of misinformation.
Me? Calm down. How have I not been calm? You were just screaming at the top of your lungs, dude. Maybe you should calm down. Hey, do you...
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
Not one of them can tell me what they're marching for. I just asked everyone. Remember how they just said, I'm out of control? Remember how they just said, don't escalate things? Then that's exactly what they did after they gave me all the attention. And then they couldn't even answer the simple question, why are you protesting? Why are you marching? Of course, they're really marching because they can't accept the results of the election, and they just use a bunch of different arguments to complain about the election. If I keep talking, I bet they'll keep chanting. So I'm just going to keep talking here, because this is what I do for a living, and they'll all scream themselves crazy. I'm in the middle of a Nazi march right now. There's a nice middle finger. Very cute. Very classy. So I just can't wait. She says she's with the rebels, but she's actually for the establishment out here that wants gun control. Do you think the Imperials would want to take the guns in Star Wars?
I'm going to talk to you. I hate Infowars.
First time ever anywhere the...
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
It's never going to be enough because they're going to keep chanting. It's never enough. Now they've been chanting for 10 minutes at the top of their lungs at me as if I've done anything. So now the whole crowd is chanting. This is a hysterical crowd of loonies right here. And they're all screaming at me as if I can hear anything they're saying. Is that a woman with a beard? Hold up. They've been chanting never again for like 3 minutes at me. They're all surrounding me now because I have an NRA hat on, and I asked them why they're marching. And you can review the footage. Nobody can answer why they're marching. Not one person. Well, folks, if you ever want to know what it feels like to be in the middle of a Nazi propaganda rant, watch this video. Now here's the sad thing. The next shooting after the shooting in Florida in Maryland was stopped by a man with a gun. Hey, what do you think about Hillary rigging the election from Bernie?
I mean, I already took a picture of you guys. How's Alex Jones doing right now, by the way?
Great. He's actually taking his kids out for a nice weekend.
Oh, really? Really? He's not busy, screaming on TV about nonsense?
No, he's taking his kids out this weekend. But pretty much everything he's reported on ended up coming true, though.
Really?
We've got the power!
Are the frogs gay still?
Yeah, have you heard of atrazine?
Atrazine? Is that what turned the frogs gay?
Yeah, there's multiple scientific studies, including one out of California, Berkeley.
Man, that's weird. It must have turned me gay, too.
Actually, maybe. Maybe it did.
Yeah, I fucking love women.
All right.
Including Hillary.
All right.
Take a picture. Don't start a riot in the next 3 minutes.
I promise you won't have any problems from me. As if I'm going to start the riot. I'm one guy out here. I literally have a camera in one hand and a mic in the other. What could I even do? Oh, they know what I could do because I have the power of thoughts. I have the power of ideas. That's why they're afraid of me, because my ideas and my thoughts are more powerful than theirs. That's what scares them. That's why we're changing the world and they're not. Everyone's like, look at the crazy with the NRA hat on. Oh my gosh. These people don't understand that the NRA is a group of millions and millions of citizens. So it's citizens' power. There's more members of the NRA than however many people are going to march today. However many people march today against the NRA, there's more members of the NRA. So even if it came down to a vote, they'd be outvoted by the NRA alone. Ma'am, did you hear about the Maryland shooting?
BS! BS!
All right, all right.
You represent a very small minority of the country.
No, the NRA has millions of people, one of the biggest organizations in the country.
In your head.
All right, so do a little research before you make a false statement. Why don't people march for like mental health awareness instead of gun control?
I think that you bring up a great point because we should. And these kids out here today are doing their part on the gun control side, and there hasn't been a social media uprising about the mental health stuff, which needs to happen as well.
That's true, but that would be against the establishment, like big pharmaceutical companies that make billions and billions of dollars on it.
You're right, and that is another issue. We have a lot of issues right now that we need to be fighting for, and a lot of things we need to improve. 100%, you're right. In my own life, I don't let my past determine my future, and I think America and our country is unlike any country in the history of the world, and we have a power that no people in the history of the world has ever had. We're not destined to turn out like Germany or any of these countries. We're America. We're different. We're moving towards a more prosperous future that no one's ever seen, and that includes our citizens not having AR-15s.
I come out here and I'm told I'm falling for propaganda, even though it was America that changed the world and gave every person the right to be armed. That means every person can be free.